All over the world, there exist several ways to run a republic, these ways being the presidential, semi-presidential, and parliamentary systems. These systems differ in who gets power, from a singular president to the whole of a legislature. All systems have their faults, but none are faultier than the presidential system. Having brought numerous dictatorships and authoritarian leaders, much more than what parliamentary systems have, though a bit of a hopeful wish, it is perhaps of best interest for democratic nations to completely switch over and adopt the tried and true parliamentary system. But first, we must know what this system actually is. The parliamentary system has a legislature that has almost complete power. This legislature elects the prime minister. Parliamentary systems also have a president, but they have no power. These systems are also dependent on political parties and have a special power called a vote of confidence. Parliamentary legislatures have almost complete power in the way that they are the sole lawmaking power in the government. Unlike the United States and our presidential system, in which both Congress and the President have a say on what laws are made and followed, parliamentary republics only rely on the legislature or Congress to make laws. Presidential systems, like ours once again, directly elect the executive and their congressional representative. In a parliamentary system, the people only elect their representative, or in the case of the UK, Member of Parliament, MP for short. After election day, the representatives meet up at their parliamentary building and elect the Prime Minister, or whatever they choose to call their head of government. The Prime Minister-to-be then goes put to the powerless President and asks to be confirmed, and so they do. And now they are Prime Minister, leader of Parliamentary Republic. So this is how Prime Ministers are chosen. But what about the President? How do they get stuck with no power? The role of the President, generically called the head of state, and sometimes they are a monarch like the UK or Sweden, comes from the British tradition of parliamentarianism. The head of state is kept for ceremonial reasons, sometimes to act as a check on government. This tradition stems from when the British nobles wanted to keep the monarch in check, so they stripped the monarch of almost all power. They even had a civil war about it in the 1600s, which produced the first dictator too. But that is mostly unrelated. Though the part that does relate is the groups that came out of the Civil War, the Cavaliers and the Roundheads, which became the Tories and the Whigs, and finally the Conservative and Liberal parties, though the Liberals went a bit further and became the Liberal Democrats in 1989. Anyway, the point of all this is the importance of parties to the parliamentary systems. Parties are an easy way for voters to determine what they and their candidates believe in, and a way for parties to create a government. According to William A. Darity Jr. in the International Encyclopedia of Social Sciences, a parliamentary republic usually has many parties competing in the elections. Depending on the electoral system, one singular party may not get the full majority needed to elect a prime minister and create a government. So these parties must work together and create coalitions. These coalitions are made up of two or more like-minded or closely like-minded parties. The parties in coalition agree not to vote down each other's legislation and support the lead party's pick for prime minister. The junior partners in the coalition might also get some cabinet-level positions in return for the support. What if there is no support? Then the Parliament's special power comes to play. The government or opposition can start the vote of confidence or no confidence, respectively. A vote of confidence can be used by the government to reaffirm their position as the legitimate governors, especially during times of great judgment. A vote of no confidence can be used by the opposition to show the government and others that those in power have no support in the Parliament. In the event that a no-confidence vote goes to plan, or a vote of confidence goes awry, the Prime Minister must ask the President to dissolve the Parliament, which results in a new election, according to Mark A. Graber. So why choose a parliamentary system over a presidential system? In a parliamentary system, no one person has all the power. The Prime Minister is held accountable to Parliament, and party competition will not allow one power to take over. Along with that, representatives are more accountable to the people. No one person having all of the power is a pro in choosing a parliamentary system. The Parliament is composed of hundreds of members, so dissidence is always to be expected. Having all the power is cause for concern, because this is how dictatorships are made and authoritarian regimes perpetuate. Though parliaments are not immune to dictatorship, all three access powers were parliamentary republics before their descent into dictatorship. Presidential republics becoming authoritarian are much more prevalent. That example is given by Latin America during the late 20th century. The presidencies of these countries were taken by force and American intervention. It was the presidencies themselves that created the violence. According to Juan Linz, this is a zero-sum game in which winner and loser divisions are made bigger due to the stakes of the presidential election. The loser must wait 4 or 5 years until they're shot at presidency. Until then, there is no hope of reaction to events and no hope of alliance. Accountability is another big reason why choosing a parliament is the best option. All members of government are also members of parliament, and are accountable to their voters for fear that they might vote for another party. This competition keeps democracies healthy. Hopefully this has informed you in what a parliament is and why it's better than a presidential system. Goodbye.